Awesome, awesome. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our May month meetup. For those of you who have already joined us in our past events, welcome back. And for those of you who are new here, I'd like to extend my warm welcome to all of you. We are called Automation Advocates, and it is a community powered by Ask UI. Here, I have actually attached the Discord server. If you have not received it, here is the one. Feel free to join in and get the latest updates on the events or stay connected with the fellow meetup, fellow, people in the community who are interested in the testing in general. And before we begin, I would like to inform you that this will be a recording. This will be the recorded session, so feel free to turn on your mic or turn on your camera or off in based on your interest. Today's topic is going to be about bridging the gap, understanding the broader value of quality beyond bug counting. And we have with us amazing speaker Farah. Hi, Farah.
Hi,
Uh,
hello, Ruba.
Farah worked as a head of quality engineering since 2021. She has been advising executives, bringing her wealth of knowledge and experience to drive a culture of building reliable operations, excellence, and innovation in every aspect of her life and work. And now I would let the stage I would let Farah take over from here, and yeah, feel free to ask in your questions in the chat box or wait for Farah to finish her session and check with her in the end. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you for this introduction, and thanks for also for the invitation. Before even starting this talk today, I have two questions for you. Um, as a query expert, how do you think of a main mission? Like, do you think that your main mission is detecting bugs? So this is the first question. So do not hesitate to respond in the chat. And the second question is, if you have to think about one metric that will translate your added value to the company where you are working, what will be this metric? Today, I will be sharing my vision about these 2 points. And before all, let me introduce myself. So, as Apurva have said, I'm Farah Shepshub. I'm working on query files since now more than 8 years, mainly on startup and scale-up environment. My last mission was about being head of query engineering at Ankastor. And I'm also strategic advisor for executive, mainly on productivity and query file. And I really like to share my knowledge. And that's why I run also a newsletter. So you can go and follow me on Substract. So it's Farah Newsletter. And yeah, today I will be talking about something that I have to work with a lot in my career, which is bridging the gap and understanding the border value of query beyond bug counting. Before even starting, let me share with you something really personal. When I joined a company, as an employee or even for a mission as an advisor, I really like to deliver a value as fast as I can. Really, like I really want to show the company that they have hired the right person or that they have called the right person. And to be able to do so, I have to get what's what is the target that this company have hired me for or have called me for. And that starts mainly from the interviews to the first days. I start asking questions. And with the experience, now I have a question that I'm always asking. And let me give you these tips. Why do you need a query engineer? That's a question that I'm always asking. And I'm asking not only one time to one person, but to everyone that I'm seeing over the process of the hiring. And after that, all the persons that I'm seeing on the company, from customer support to the CDO to the developers, why people do you need query engineer? And over 8 years of experience in startup and scale-ups, Let's say that I come with finally a sad assessment that query is not always on the foundation. And most of the time, when a company starts his journey, they think about hiring a developer, product people, or maybe support. But query, that came when the company start to see more and more bugs in production, and that have also an impact on the operational side. And on that case, people that I can see in the interview can tell me, oh, Farah, we have more and more clients that are complaining about our query. More and more people saying that we have a lot of bugs. And in the worst case scenario, that feeling could be not only pursued like internally, but even externally, the customer satisfaction is impacted, and you can go and see it. Like if you are in an interview and in the process of hiring for a company, you can see and type on Google the name of the company and see what are the customer reviews. And that's why the company told me, we need a team for that. We need to invest on query. So they need a query revolution. That's a big challenge. I don't know for you, but for me, it's like, oh, that's like, will I be able with my team to deliver a real revolution regarding query? The challenge is good, but if you have someone more than ambitious in front of you, they could be like searching for a zero bug strategy. And the question of why do you need a query engineer or query division or a query expert could came with, we need a value that is zero bug strategy. But is that realistic? Let's go and dig on it. There are 4 things. I don't know if you know about this graph. It's the graph of unknown knowns. I really like it because it have real thinking about what we could detect as a tester or as a query engineer and what we could not. There are known knowns. So things that we can see from the specification, things that we can already think about how we will test them, how we will automate the test with that. So for that, it's good for us. We will track the bug earlier in the process, and that's right. The other kind of the problem could be that there are known unknowns. So things that you are not sure about the behavior. And maybe you have an external service that you are having in testing environment that will behaving differently in the production. So you know that you don't know in a way, but it's okay because once you will go on production, you will be able to test it maybe on production or to monitor it and to catch the issue. Maybe too much later, but it's okay. You will still have something to do about it. There are other kinds of issues that are unknown knowns. The issues that, for example, customer known or customer support knows, but you don't know about them yet. No one have told you that these issues are there. So for that, it's more like you need to improve the process. And finally, we have unknown unknowns, issues that you will never think about them, that your customer support will never hear about, but your customer will discover one day. And that's where we are on the fatality of unpredictable issue. So if my value as a query engineer, as a tester, as a head of query, as an advisor regarding query is a zero bug strategy, I will probably fail. So how could I face a realistic value and have a challenge that I will be able to deliver? Because if I will have a challenge that it is not realistic, I will work a lot and my team will work a lot and the company will not be satisfied as we will not hit our value. So I have to think about it differently and rethink about what could define query. Believe me, this question, I'm still asking it to myself until today. I don't know for you if you have a real vision about what defines query for you, but defining query is something very complex. As quality is, if you go on Google and search for it, quality is a very subjective matter. From one company to another one, you will have a different definition. One company could, for example, search for quality engineer to be able to face load and to have a good performance. Another company want to have a better productivity and so a better automation. Other company want maybe to hit to be more like compliant with the legal facts, and so that's why they need more testers to be challenged regarding the compliant part. So as quality is very subjective, we need something more tangible to navigate into this quality challenge. And that's why we need tangible things. We need numbers. We need to see what is our added value in terms of numbers and going from something qualitative to something quantitative. And that's why we need metrics. So now we will be able to define the value with these metrics. But Farah, if you told me that the number of bugs could not define us, what could I searching for? The point here is, if we want to go back to the discussion that we have at the beginning when we are joining a company, and that people told us that there are a lot of issues, we can at least see if these feelings of the support team, the product team, and the tech team are real. So we can go and see if in reality we have a lot of incident. We can go and see how much incident we have, how much bug we have, and count that. And we can go even further and see if the number of incidents is treated in a proactive way, if we have the right processes to catch the issue and to fix it once the issue is escalated. And if, for example, we see that the issues are not catched in the right way, do we have any issue in productivity? Do that have any impact on what developers are delivering? Are we continuing to deliver things in a frequent way, or still we really working on the incident and we are struggling to deliver new things? And if it is the case, is that visible on the customer side? Do we have any complaints regarding the lack of quality, regarding the number of bugs that we have on production? And then if we have a lot of complaints, do that have any correlation with the number of incidents? What I'm showing you here is, I would say, the query evaluator flywheel. If you come to the company and you see that they start to be in this negative flywheel, it's never a very good sign. So you have to go from this metric and face the challenge that you will have. And in the most of the time, people at companies that are searching for quality engineers, they have this syndrome. They are struggling really a lot, and they have this syndrome. But okay, now that we have the flywheel, what are the metrics? The metrics, we have four ones: standards. Time to recovery, if we want to see if we are proactive enough. If we want to see if we are really productive, we can see the lead time for change, but also the deployment frequency, if we are deploying as always as we want. And we can also see our change failure rate to see if we have a lot of incidents. These metrics, I don't know if you have seen them before, but they start to be standard on the market as they are the DORA metrics. So DORA metrics are DevOps research and assessment metrics that Google have shared on the Accelerate report. And today, if you go on any company, you can see them already in place. And if they are not on place, I really recommend you to go and see where do you stand regarding that. But the problem is, once we have DORA metric, there are traps in DORA metrics. DORA metric could be a little bit difficult to tell you everything, I would say. thing, the change failure rate. I remember one experience where I have joined a startup. It was in a very early stage. And the change failure rate was really good. Like always they are delivering a release. It was a really stable release. And the change failure rate was not at all like a bad one. But what we don't know is that as it was a very early stage company, the incident process and escalation process was not yet mature. So in reality, the company was counting the change failure rate on the number of incidents, while most of the incident was qualified as bugs. And so if you see the number of bugs plus the number of incidents, you will have another lecture of the picture. In the same company, the deployment frequency was really good. Each day, the engineers were delivering different releases and not only one. So we were really in a good way. But in reality, if you go, you see that the deployment frequency was about the new feature and hot fixes. And as I have said, as they had a lot of bugs and a lot of incidents, the deployment frequency was not about new features, but mostly about hot fixes. So as a startup, if you have to deliver and you are delivering only hot fixes, you will maybe struggle to catch the competitor because you are not delivering new features. And that could be problematic. Same for lead time for change. For that point specifically, believe me, I have seen different definitions, really, from one company to another one. You can see some companies talking about cycle time, other ones talking about release time, other ones talking about the time to market. And let's be honest, from one metric to another one, we are not at all seeing the same perspective. For some metrics, for example, like the time to market, we are including even the product team as we are including the discovery, specification, and all. In other hands, for example, for release time or cycle time, we are more focused on the CI/CD process. And finally, and the most difficult one, I would say, is the time to recovery. Recovery is not an easy matter. You can say that I have recovered an incident, but you have only found a workaround. You have just found a quick win, but you didn't repair the root cause. And this is the difference between mean time to repair and mean time to recover. If you are having a very good time to recover, but you have only a lot of quick win and workaround, that means that you are not fixing the issue on the long term, but also that you are creating a lot of technical debt. And that's really problematic again. So now that I know about all of that, over 8 years of experience, what I'm doing once I join a company, whatever the metrics are there or not, I start by calculating them. If the metrics are there, I start by asking the question, what do you mean by change failure rate? Because it doesn't have the same meaning if you are including bugs or not, for example. And more than that, I'm recalculating the metrics like with these different changes, and see if I am, for example, including a new feature and hot fixes in the deployment frequency, if I can see inconsistency in a way, and if I can get something interesting that we have to work on the query side. So we are good. We have something tangible, values, metrics that we could rely on. Sorry, but I didn't tell you that we have hidden spots. DORA metric do not show you everything. And DORA metric could tell you about productivity, could tell you about reliability of the system, but cannot show you the overall picture of query. DORA metric don't show you the compliance part. You cannot be sure that if you have good metrics, that you have a very secure product, that you have a good performance, that your technical stack is scalable, that your product is with a good UX and UI, and that is accessible, usable, that you are innovative, and that your customers are satisfied. And more than that, you don't know if you are cost efficient, you don't know if you have any business outcomes. So you know about it. These are some examples, but there are a lot that Durametric don't tell you. So now you will tell me, Farah, you have lost us. You tell us, go, Durametric are good, we can fetch the metric with them, I have our value, we have numbers. Again, we are in a trap. So what should we do there? We have to go to the basis and find the quest for a fair balance. The idea here is when a company is hiring an engineer, a developer, a query engineer, a head of engineer, an advisor, they are investing money and they are waiting for a return on investment. So show me the money. The cost benefit of query. If I am investing in a query now, what I will get from it? And for that, we need the full picture. As I said, each company is different and have a different challenge and have maybe a different strategy. So you need the full picture to be able to pick the right metric that are aligned with the business outcome of the company. So let me give you now a very concrete example. So a few years ago, I have joined a company, so a startup again, and this startup have already delivered a product market fit, have already some users, customers that are happy, and was mostly searching for growth, so having more customers. But while searching for growth, the company had a real obsession regarding sustainable growth and wanted to have two things: improving customer retention. And the idea with that is that they didn't want that while they are getting a new customer, the old customer will churn, and they want to secure the revenue. And that's how, on the quality team, I have picked indicator aligned to that. The first indicator that we were following on my team was about customer satisfaction. Our idea was to hit 93% of agreed and amazing reviews in terms of customer satisfaction. The other KPI that we wanted to hit was about business outcomes. We knew at that time that a lot of customers were churning due to a lack of query because we had a lot of bugs. So we wanted to, in a way, ensure that we will no longer lose more than $4,000 monthly in terms of revenue due to a lack of quality. And finally, because we cannot do that without improving our reactivity and our productivity process, so we decided for the issues that we have, we will be delivering the repair. So we will have a mean time for repairing within 30 days. And I insist, repairing and not just recovering. And the point here, it was also an average. 30 days, an average for all the issues that we have. For the more severe ones, we are fixing them in less than 1 hour or 3 hours, for example. And in the same way, we have decided that we will no longer make issues on the backlog without treating them. And we have decided that our oldest bug, oldest issue, should no longer be more than 90 days. And we go beyond that, because to be able to do it, metrics are good, but we need our mission. We need tangible things again. So we have set it up a bug management process by being able to reproducing the issue and having an escalation process between the support and the quality team, being able to prioritize the issue that are escalated, and after all, once the issue are recovered, testing that, making automation for that. We have also set it up an internal documentation for recurrent issue to ensure that the internal people on the support side have also the knowledge about what we have in terms of issue and if you have a workaround. And we have set it up an incident process to be able to follow the incident, have war rooms, postmortems. And we ensure the internal and external communication to be able to have a transparency with the customers and no longer have customers that are blind about what's happening in production. And finally, once we have set it up all of that, we cannot have actions without a real follow-up. So we have set it up also a follow-up of the action of the postmortems to be able to see if they are already done for the short, middle, and the long term. And as we have the full picture, now we have a holistic vision in terms of query. We are no longer the only ones that are considering query as something important for the company. But more than that, the KPIs, some KPIs that we have at our level were a company level KPIs. So for example, for the customer satisfaction or for the churn, everyone were mobilized to go and hit these KPIs. So when, for example, we have some issues that are really critical and we want to go and prioritize them, and we go to the product team and said, guys, we have a very important customer here, and otherwise we will have a churn for the revenue. So let's fix it. Everyone said, okay, let's go and prioritize the issue because they have the same metric as us in terms of objective. So now we are good. Now we have our value and everyone is aware about what we are doing. But if I ask you the question, do you think that we are going in the right direction, and do you think that we are making things great? The response should be no, unfortunately. Why? Because if I tell you we are improving the monthly churn to 4K, you don't know our starting point. You don't know if we have started as we are already losing maybe 3K and we will increase it to 4, or if we are already losing 6K and we will be decreasing it to 4. So that's where we have relative numbers versus absolute numbers. And that's why we need to define the starting point to be able to really understand the added value of what we are proposing. So for example, for the customer satisfaction, we have decided to go from 87% great and amazing reviews to 93% of great and amazing reviews. And on that point, we know that we want to improve our customer satisfaction by 6%. Same for the churn revenue. We know that we were at 5K and we want to go to 4K. So we want to improve it by 20%. Same for reactivity. We want to go from 28% for the mean time to repair and 50% for the oldest issue. Now that we have the metrics, that we know where we will go, it could also work in the other hand. For example, you can go and said, you know what, I will be improving 60%. But again, you need the starting point. So the lecture could be different, but you could not come to a company and said, we will improve by 20% our productivity, but 20% of what? So that's why you need this starting point. That's really, really important. And that's how you will gain the trust. And that's how people will get your why. Why are you doing that? So now we can start. We have the metric, we have the absolute versus the relative numbers. We have metrics that are at the company level. Everyone is working on the same direction. In reality, sorry, but no. Again, I hope I didn't lose you, folks, but no, we didn't finish with that. We have a lot of things again. We need to fix a timeline. If I want to improve the metrics, if I want to deliver a value, the 6% or this 20% that I am proposing, in how much time I will need to go and tackle that. And that's why the objective that I have presented to you, they were yearly objectives. You can see that for some objective, they are ambitious. Like, for example, the oldest issue. We want to go from 180, we want to improve it by 50%, reduce the number of issues. That's huge. But we can also see that for some others, like, for example, the customer satisfaction, we want to improve only by 6%. And let's say that it's already very ambitious because we are already at a very, very good point. 87% is already very good. So going to 93 is more than extraordinary. As it was yearly objectives, we have also to think about quarterly objective. But again, we didn't make it as an easy calculation of taking the KPIs and metric and splitting it by 4. No, it will not work like that. But we need a deeper reflection. For example, we know that the churn in this company, it was a B2B company, and we have a subscription. So the business model with a subscription for the pricing. So when a user churn, it take more than 3 months. So we know that in the first month, for on Q1, what we will see in terms of churn, it will be the churn of Q4 the year before. And all the things that the effort that we will deliver for improving reactivity, for improving productivity, for improving the coverage and all, we will not see a return on investment at the beginning of the process on the revenue. So we have targets 0%. We have said, guys, if with the change that we are making, we will not at least lose more people, it's already okay. But we know that at the end of the year, we will have something really great. And that's what we had. At the end of the year, we have even over-delivered the target. That's why we need realistic objective. It's better to under-promise and over-deliver than over-promise and under-deliver. So the point here is, it's not only about numbers. What I'm showing you today, what I'm sharing with you with this experience, that what I have seen over the 8 years, it's not only about numbers. You have employees, you have customers, you have people that are working hard for the company, and they need a why, and they need to see their value. Maybe you have stocks, maybe, and specifically in startup, maybe these people that are working with you in your teams have also stocks and options. And if they are seeing the added value in the business, they knew that they will deliver a better value for themselves after all, and that's improve the engagement, and everyone will work in the same direction. And that's why we need a real value, and beyond the number, we need the engagement. And it's, again, we are not just setting the number and pick them there and we'll no longer follow them. We need to follow the evolution. Each year, each quarter, where do we stand? Have we degraded something? Have we missed something? We have to challenge ourselves. There is also some things that we didn't know about, and in the middle of the year, maybe we changed the plan because we didn't thought about something. And it's okay. We can change our value. We can change our metric. But overall, we have to adapt our value to the business evolution, to the context of the company. We know, for example, currently we have a recession. There are a lot of layoffs. Companies are more searching maybe for retention and not for only growth. So maybe that will make sense if we work on what is the value of query on the retention part. So that's all for today for me. I hope that the talk was inspiring for you and that you will be able to get something tangible from it, because this is something that is very important for me. This talk is mainly, like the inspiration is mainly from Accelerate and Start With Why from Simon Sinek. And yeah, do not hesitate if you have any question. I will be pleased to hear you.
Yeah, thank you, Farah, for talking about it. And I remember I met Simon Sinek in New York, and everything you said like came from his mouth as well. It's amazing to hear it again. Very well put, and I agree totally. And to be honest, like in times like these where stuff gets challenging, you always fall back to the question like, why? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing that? Why is doing? And then I was like, okay, I'd rather ask the question why more often now, so I don't have to question how later on, basically. So I keep building the foundation on why, and yeah, but great takeaway. I love it. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Ron.
Great. Thanks, Farah. As you mentioned, now we let the floor open for any kind of question. Feel free to unmute yourself, anyone with the questions, and Farah will be there to answer them. Do we have any question, or maybe just simply write down in the chat box? Looks like we had amazing session that people understood everything, and that's the best part of watching the video with the text while explanation of the context behind that part of the presentation. So I'm sure everybody had fun listening to Farah, and of course learned something very interesting, and are going to apply that in their work. So I think if there are no more questions regarding the yes, recording will be available on our YouTube channel. It's called Ask UI. I will also share it on our Discord channel, Discord server in about 24 hours. So you can access the recording directly from our Discord server. And so yeah, any final questions or anything? Farah, do you have any takeaway, or do you want to say a few last words before we wrap up?
I think that we have one question.
Oh yeah, how many key performance objective is too many for you, Farah?
That's a very, very good one. That's a really very good one. I will say that if you have at the team level, if you have more than 3-4 KPIs, like key objective and key performance indicator, it will be really challenging to go and catch them. It could be possible, and if, for example, the 4 KPIs are correlated, for example, the revenue versus, for example, the customer satisfaction, what we have seen there. So we see if we have correlation between customer satisfaction and revenue. So in a way, we are at least going for retention, and we have these 2 key metrics that are linked. But more than 4 KPIs and key objective that are totally disconnected, specifically, and let's talk also about the timeline. Specifically, if you want, for example, to catch them in a quarter, that's mainly not possible. Really not possible. So yeah, and I would say also there is something. So maybe I will be deviating a little bit from the question, but if you have a team, you are scaling, and that's very true in scale-ups. What I have seen is that when you have a team that goes from a certain number to another number because you have scaled a lot, or you have made a layoff also. It's also it works in the two directions. You could not pick more than one or two objectives, because you know that the team need a time to adapt to the new challenges. For example, if you are onboarding new people, these new people have to know the product. You have also to rework the internal processes. So you cannot work in the same time on business objectives and on internal adaptation. So you have to be realistic regarding that. And that's an easy, I would say, trap that that I have already seen. That, for example, you come to a company and see that we have 6 objectives and we are onboarding more than 50% of the team. So it's mainly not possible to have these two things together. So yeah, I hope that I have responded to the question, but that's how I see things.
That's right. We have another question. When business analysts should start not functional requirements, Lucas asked that. And when software testers should start measure performance. Farah, that's for you.
Yeah. So for business analysts, so it could be business analysts, it could be like product team, but it depends, I would say, in the organization. But for me, that starts from the discovery in a way. It's how the efficient team that I am, like the teams that have seen efficient are working. Like you cannot disconnect the specification and the analysis part. You have to go and analyze that from start, even before starting developing. And that's why you will be really proactive and you will see the issues very early in the development process. Then when should tester start measuring performance? The same. We should start seeing the performance and measuring things even before starting working, to see if we have degraded something. For example, if we want to see how my product is behaving with some users and how it will be behaving with more users, again, we have to fetch the starting point. So we have to see before even delivering the change or before even having more users, how my product is performing. So that's the same for everything. For me, really, metrics, what I have today share with you, work for any metric that you want to go and fetch, whatever for the query, to see where you are, where do you stand. But even like if you want to see the performance of your platform, or if you want to see the reliability, or if you want to see the user satisfaction, you have to pick a starting point to be able to compare if there is a change or not. That's sure, Lucas. That's sure that you need to know how many users, but you can at least, for example, see with less number of users how the thing is working. Maybe at least even a nominal number of users randomly, you will see that you have already some issues that even without load, you are able to see them. And that's why it's important. For sure, you will always have a hidden part, otherwise it will not be the challenge. But as for example, I had the experience on MongoPay when I have worked on MongoPay, that for example so it was a fintech company, and sometimes we have for example huge discount, a huge load, and we cannot predict the load. We cannot predict how much load we will have. But at least we see on a nominative way how our platform is working before even the load starts. And we go and make, for example, a prediction. We think, okay, let's go and make the double, the triple. And then we see how the platform is behaving. And then we are able to compare. But we have to pick a starting point.
We have another question. Do you work with software architects to get the most important quality attributes, non-functional requirements?
That's a very good question again. Thank you, Jonas, for this one. Yeah, that's we for me, really, again, the teams where I have seen a real impact in terms of query are the teams that are integrated from scratch. And in 2 or 3 experience that I worked for, I have even made query. So for example, again, at MongoPay, I was part of the executive part. So meaning that I have made the query part of executive, meaning that even at the strategy level, when we are discussing a new feature, at the strategic level, I was there. And then with my team, we were from start discussing about if we are changing the architecture, how we will make it for the query, how we will see, for example, how we will test it. If we are integrating a new external service, how are we testing it? And even what are the SLAs with this external service? We are reviewing even their SLAs. We are even testing the external service SLAs. So like the more you will be at the beginning of the process, more you will work on collaboration with the teams, product, tech, but also support and finance, because these people are also very important for the company. More you will get something really impactful in terms of quality, because you will not come at the end of the development and you will say, guys, we totally missed mocking up external services. So how will we test it in the testing environment? It will be too late. Maybe we have already a delay. Maybe we have already a customer waiting for the feature. So yeah, we have to be there from the starting points. And that's how I have worked, I would say, in an environment where things worked well.
Got it. I hope that was that answered your query, Johannes. We also have another one. How long have you been working on software tester? That's for you, Farah.
Yeah. So I'm working on the query engineering field for more than 8 years. I have been tester for like a hands-on for mostly 5-6 years. So since 2 years now, I'm more hands-off. So meaning that I'm not testing myself. It occurs that sometimes I'm testing when I'm joining a company to also get the product and all, but I'm mostly more hands-off and focused on the strategic part and managing the team and all. But yeah, I have been testing for more than 6 years, and so I have seen really what are the issues, and that's today what made me maybe aware of the issues that we can encounter, and that's how I think that I could be a good manager. Yeah, today I'm head of quality engineering, Lucas.
Great. Any more final questions for Farah? All right. I think that was it. I have actually attached Farah's link, a LinkedIn account on our meetup page. So feel free to connect and ask your queries directly to her, or in case you don't find her there, you can link those questions to me, and I will make sure that Farah answers them whenever she gets time. I also, so this recording will be available within 24 hours. You can refer to it later on and ask your queries anytime, and we'll make sure to get them answered. And yes, that's her newsletter. Thanks, Farah, for being and sharing your experiences, insights on the amazing topic we had today. Also, I see Michael just raised hand. Was it? I'm assuming it's because of, yeah, it's by mistake and because of the new feature of emojis. So yeah, that is all, everybody. Thank you for joining, and thanks again, Farah, for being with us today and sharing your insights. And hope to see you all again next month. Great.
Thanks again for the invitation, and goodbye. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.